Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today TV. I'm Sakshi Batra, and on this special edition, our focus is on the Q4 earnings. The company on our radar today is Biocon Biologics. The Q4 for the company, especially on terms of revenues, have jumped 114% on a year-on-year basis to clock in revenues of over 2,100 crore rupees. Also for FY23, the revenues for the company have jumped over 60% at over 5,500 crore rupees again. Now, to join us to share with us more insights about the earnings for this quarter, the financial year and the outlook going forward. Joining in is the top management of the firm. Mr. Shreehas Tambe joins in. He's the MD and CEO of the company. Welcome, Mr. Tambe, and thank you so much for taking the time out for this discussion. Well, first up, robust earnings this time around, so congratulations to you for that. Help our viewers understand what were the key growth drivers for this quarter and for the entire fiscal year as well.
Sakshi, thank you very much first for having me on this show. And you're absolutely right. We've ended the fiscal year on a high, and this quarter particularly has been an excellent quarter for us. We've seen growth in almost all segments of our business. We've seen growth coming in through increased market shares of pegfilgrastim in the US, where now we've become the largest biosimilar player in the US market. We've also seen growth coming in from select markets in Europe. We've seen our adalimumab do exceptionally well. It's branded Julio, and we've got over 18% market share in Germany and over 10% in France. And there are several other select markets in Europe that we've been very, very successful. Emerging markets saw huge growth coming in through Brazil for trastuzumab, insulin in Mexico. We've also seen market shares pick up in Indonesia for trastuzumab. So this has really been the underlying growth drivers which has allowed us to perform well. In addition to licensing income, which we've been able to help bolster our revenues and profits and fuel the R&D expenses that we've incurred in the quarter and the year.
Right. And now, what's also important to understand is that you've already concluded the acquisition of Viatris as well. And this has been, one of the marquee events as well for this fiscal year. This quarter was, in fact, the first quarter where you actually saw the full impact on the finances as well when it comes to the contribution of the consolidated business. What exactly was the contribution of Viatris in this quarter itself in terms of both top line and bottom line, if you could quantify for us?
Yeah, I mean, I know that's a very interesting question, and people are very interested in that. But if you look at it now, this is a Biocon Biologics-led business. What we've done now in reported is a full quarter revenue of what that acquired plus existing business meant. In the past, if you know how we were structured, is our business with Beatrice was co-mingled, where we shared profits and revenues. So there was a lot of cross-company charges that we had because this wasn't two different companies not connected in the past working together, but we already had business together, which was being reported in our numbers. So I understand the curiosity, but I would encourage people to look at this as a first full quarter revenue and start this off from here. The 2 points I would make is it sets us up nicely with an exit rate of $1 billion that our chairperson, Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, had guided for. So we've delivered on that. And the second important point is that the quality of earnings, which is a key indicator of how that acquired business is performing, has stayed in that 35 to 40% core EBITDA margin that we had guided for. That is how our business was performing in the past. That indicates that our integration has been not coming at a cost of any expenses and has integrated in very nicely with the same core EBITDA contribution.
Okay. Going forward from here, we've seen some launches also, which has really benefited you in this fiscal year. You had 35 plus launches of Biocon Biologics, 8 commercialized biosimilars worldwide in FY23. What does one really expect in terms of launch pipeline for you in FY24, sir?
Launches that we've talked about, usually launches in a particular year really drive business in the subsequent year. And what we are looking at from those 35 launches that have happened in fiscal 23 actually will drive growth for us in fiscal 24. So when we look at the growth over fiscal 23, we expect that growth to come on the back of new product launches in the advanced market. And we've talked about adalimumab, we've talked about the approvals of Aspart and bevacizumab in the US. But there's all these 35 launches that we've made, which will help propel our business from where we've exited now to the level that we want to get to.
Okay, since you're talking about the advanced markets and even the emerging markets where you have been looking at new launches as well and you're expanding your reach, the geographical performance for this quarter, your business in the advanced markets did show strong growth, which you are also pointing out. The market share of some of your products also increased right there. Help us understand on the growth in the market share front from the current levels going forward in these advanced markets.
So if we pick up US, which is the largest jurisdiction overall, we've seen all our products which are commercial today, which is Glargine, Trastuzumab, and Pegfilgrastim. All of them cross the 10% barrier. As I said, Pegfilgrastim, which is branded Fulphila, is now the leading biosimilar Pegfilgrastim in the US market. So that's really grown well. We are looking forward to our Semglee or insulin Glargine pick up market share during the course of fiscal 24. And we've seen Trastuzumab hold on to its 10% market share despite the competition that we've seen. So US seems to have moved in the right direction. We will see the addition of Hulio, which is our biosimilar adalimumab, change that dynamic further and bolster our presence in the US. We have a very strong front end there. In Europe, we clearly have a lot of headroom to grow beyond adalimumab, where we've really done well with adalimumab in the EU. Trastuzumab is around that 11% pan-EU, certain markets even over 30 or 40%. But pan-EU, I would say the Trastuzumab franchise has been around 11%. There's headroom for us to grow because we've got 8 products, 8 biosimilars approved, and all our facilities have also been approved by the EU from a GMP perspective. So we see growth opportunities in the EU as well on the advanced market side.
Okay, and on the emerging markets presence, you expanded your reach with 8 new product launches, and some of the launches also came in Q4 as well. Any newer geographies that you're looking to tap on now, and how will these particular products that you've added in Q4 continue to add to your top line in the next quarter? That's the current quarter, Q1.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't look at this on a quarter by quarter basis, but if I give you a broader context, the way we were working together with Viatris, there were roughly 50 markets that we were operating in and another 30 countries that Viatris led the business. With the completion of the acquisition and as we transition that business over to us, we expect to be present in over 30 countries in addition to what we were doing business before. So you will see us not just launching products which we've talked about in the press release, but you'll also see us being present in more emerging market countries that we were present before. So you'll see that changing in the emerging market space as well in the quarters to come.
Okay. One other important information that you've given us is that Serum Life Sciences has in fact announced doubling of the investments in the company under the new arrangement. This announcement was made about 1 month ago. Could you give us any more granular details on this, the kind of investments that can flow in this current quarter, that's Q1, from this arrangement?
Yeah, so let me elaborate. Serum had invested, if you remember, $150 million at the beginning before the Beatrice deal was announced. So they were an equity investor in us. And then subsequent to that, we had also said that they will do a vaccine supply deal with us where we had this assured returns, assured EBITDA and revenues into our P&L, and they would have got 15% of stock in return of that. Now, of course, that deal couldn't go through because of regulatory approvals. So what they've done is they've increased their investment from $150 million, which was initially invested in Biocon Biologics, to a $300 million, changing their loan that they had invested in Biocon Limited to an equity investment of $150 million in Biocon Biologics. So that increases their investment in Biocon Biologics, brings them closer to 5%. Than what they had invested in before. So that's the granularity on the Serum investment in Biocon Biologics.
Okay. And apart from Viatris now, are you on the lookout for any new mergers and acquisition opportunities, any fundraise plans for, going forward for expansions?
Well, the Beatrice acquisition, I would say, for the biosimilars business is a significant one. It's an inflection point in our journey. It's transformational in all senses. It brings us into a league which is very different than what we've been operating in. So clearly, a very big leap from where we've been as a development manufacturing company to a fully integrated biosimilars player, having all the levers and a strong commercial front end with a presence in over 100 countries. So at this point, the priority clearly is integrating that business into Biocon Biologics. So that's the first step. On the fundraise that you talked about, clearly there's always been interest in investors wanting to be a part of this exciting growth story.
Yeah.
We've announced two equity investments in the course of this last quarter. We've talked about Kotak, and we've also talked about Edelweiss. So there's been also this announcement. We had talked about paring down of the debt that we had taken, and you've seen us make real progress on that count with the $200 million overall investment because of these investors.
Right. I always also end up asking you on the demerger plans. Biocon Biologics is now a significant contributor to the overall, Biocon earnings as well, over 50% share in the segmental revenues. What's the next step? Are you looking at the demerger of this company and separately listing? What are the IPO plans looking like for you? You have earlier expressed to me that is definitely something that the company has in plan, but are we going to see any more actions towards that, and any timelines that you can share with us?
We had, of course, guided that we would be we're very clear about unlocking value in what we have done. I mean, if you look at Biocon Limited's history, it's incubated phenomenal businesses. First, when it listed itself on the generic side, and then we unlocked value on the research services side. And Syngene, of course, as you can see, has been a remarkable success as we've unlocked value in the research services business. And we had incubated the biologics business or the biosimilars business, and we will be unlocking value in this business as well. Now, with the Viatris integration coming up, with the acquisition that's come up, I think it's only fair for us to complete the integration to a significant portion and be in charge of the business before we talk about taking the company public. And at this time, I can tell you that we're in the process of working closely with Beatrice to see how we can integrate this business and take charge of it so that we can operate this as a Biocon Biologics run business. And then we will be able to talk to you about when we should be able to take the company to the listings.
But can that happen in the next 1 year or next 1.5 years?
I mean, that would be the aspiration, but what I wouldn't want to say something unless.
Sure.
Yeah, so yes, but that's really what we want to look at.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Tambe. Always a pleasure having you with us to get all the insights about the business outlook. Here's wishing you all the very best for the upcoming quarters as well. And many congratulations yet again for the robust results this time around. And with that, we wrap up this special edition on Biocon Biologics. You heard the management talk about what has really contributed to the strong performance in this quarter. There is continuous momentum and many levers that the company will be looking at to unlock further value and to add to these numbers going forward in the upcoming quarters, and to sustain the performance at these levels as well, and to continue to gain market share, explore more geographies for expanding their presence. The launch pipeline also looks exciting at this point in time. A lot to take in from Biocon Biologics at this point in time. And with that, we wrap up this special edition. Many thanks for joining us, but do stay tuned on to Business Today TV to catch all the updates from the world of business and stock markets.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.